Hi, and welcome to Heart and Health Wellness. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa Welch. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist with a PhD in medical family therapy. And this is a show where you learn how to care for your mental, emotional, relational, and nervous system health in real life. Not in a perfect world, not with endless time or resources, but in the life you are actually living. This podcast is for people who want to feel better, show up more intentionally, and build resilience without burning themselves out. Whether you're navigating work stress, relationships, caregiving, motherhood, or just the weight of modern life. Here we look at wellness through a biopsychosocial spiritual lens, which means we talk about your body, your mind, your relationships, and your sense of meaning in a way that's practical, compassionate, and doable. My goal is to help you understand what's happening beneath the surface, build emotional capacity, and make small, sustainable shifts that actually support your well-being. I'm really glad you are here. Let's get into today's episode. Well, hello. Before we start, I want to briefly re-anchor us, especially if it's been a week since you listened to the earlier episodes or even just a couple of days. I always joke I've slept since then. I don't remember. So if you were like me, let's talk about what we've been going over in this mini series real quick. So, emotional regulation is your ability to notice what you are feeling and respond intentionally instead of reacting automatically. Capacity is how much stress and stimulation your nervous system can handle before it tips into overwhelm. In the last episode, we talked about how capacity is built slowly in very small, repeated ways. And it's often in moments that don't feel impressive at all or like you're doing anything fancy. It's literally just the most basic, mundane strategies that can help you build capacity. Today, we are going to talk about the other side of this because no matter how much work you do or how big your capacity gets, regulation will still break down sometimes. You're going to snap, you will shut down, you'll say something that you wish you hadn't, you will feel flooded, numb, overwhelmed, or reactive. And as much as we want to believe that we have the tools in place and we are prepared, sometimes life just gets the best of us. And that's a normal part of being human. When that happens, the question becomes, now what? How do I respond to this, rebuild after this? Okay. I need you to understand that regulation breaking down does not mean that you have failed or that you're bad at this. It doesn't mean that you are emotionally immature or that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you haven't done the work or that the work that you have done hasn't been meaningful or helpful. It just means that your nervous system exceeded its current capacity. And as a reminder, that has to do with what you're experiencing right now, what the context is, and so many more factors. So it's not a simple thing here. Your brain said, that's too much, and that is it. Okay. So I want you to think of it like muscle fatigue. If you lift more than your body can handle, if I picked up a 50-pound weight right now, I might be able to get it up over my head once. It would be really hard, let's be honest. But if I did that a couple of times, I don't know how many times I could actually make it happen before my muscles get fatigued. They're going to get tired. If you lift more than your body can handle, your arms are going to give out. It's not a character flaw. It's the same thing that happens to us emotionally. One of the most important skills that you can develop is learning how to respond after regulation breaks down. But first of all, let's talk about what breakdown often looks like, because it's not always super dramatic looking. Okay. So sometimes it does look like irritability, snapping at people over small things, wanting to be left alone, feeling emotionally flat, overthinking all the things, crying unexpectedly, or feeling like you could burst into tears at any moment, or just feeling completely shut down. Your nervous system is essentially saying this is too much to handle. The goal is not to make that message stop or go away because it's helping you. The goal instead is to listen to it without panic or shaming yourself. And so let's talk about what we don't do when we are dysregulated. When regulation breaks down, most of us instinctively do one of three things. We either push harder to try and get through it, we criticize ourselves, say that we're not handling it the right way, or we try to fix everything immediately go into like solve the problem mode. But the truth is that none of those actually help. Pushing harder is going to keep you in survival mode. Self-criticism is going to add even more to your emotional load. And trying to fix everything is going to overwhelm your already overwhelmed system. So none of that is going to help. If nothing else, I want you to remember this. It's very simple. Ready? Do less, not more. Okay, let's talk about what is actually going to help you in the moment. When you are dysregulated, your job is not insight. Your job is safety. I want to take a quick moment to share about a brand that I genuinely love. We are Ama. They're a women-owned company that creates the most meaningful, beautiful pieces for moms. I personally wear my cocoon all the time. It started as a breastfeeding cover, but now I use it as a shawl and scarf, especially when it's cooler outside. And my halo necklace is one of those pieces that I never take off. It's simple, meaningful, and feels really special. If you're looking for a thoughtful gift for a new mom or something just for you, you can save 15% with the code Melissa, Melissa. I'll link everything in the show notes below. And so there's a few options that you have. You don't have to do all of them, but it's good to pick at least one of these, okay? First of all, let's name what is happening. You can say to yourself silently, you don't have to say it out loud, I'm dysregulated right now. This is overwhelm. My nervous system needs some support. Naming it reduces the intensity. There's something about putting what we are experiencing into language that gives us power over that situation. Number 2 is to lower the expectations immediately. This might mean that you are canceling plans, pausing a conversation, letting something wait, choosing rest over productivity. So, I can think of a time where I had to cancel a presentation that I planned on giving for a conference and decided I wasn't going to be able to go to the conference. At the time, there was part of me that felt quite frustrated with myself that I didn't feel like I could handle it. But as soon as that conference came around and I realized how thankful I was that I wasn't at the conference, that I was at home and I wasn't dealing with all of that extra stress, I was so thankful that I just listened to my body and did what I needed to do. There's this external pressure that we have, or sometimes it's internal pressure to do all the things, but sometimes you need to just slow down and lower the expectations, and it's okay. It's important to realize that that's not giving up. It's just stabilizing things, and you deserve to be living in a place with stabilization. Number 3 is to regulate through the body. You don't have to talk it out. Therapy is great. Calling a friend or a loved one to vent can feel helpful at the time, but a lot of times it can make it feel worse afterwards. It's okay to not talk it out. You can just step outside, listen to the birds for a moment. Fun fact about listening to the birds is that when birds sense that there's danger, they stop singing because that would give them away and make it dangerous for themselves. So when the birds are singing, that means there's no danger around, that it's safe. And so your nervous system knows that. And so just walking outside and listening to the birds can help you relax for a moment. You're just feeling the breeze or whatever, even if there's not birds. Okay. You can drink something warm, even if it's just some hot water with lemon or tea or a cup of decaf, something like that can help you calm down. You can do some stretching, even if it's just stretching in your chair while you're seated. You can take some slow breaths. And I encourage people to practice their breathing when they're already calm. So in the heat of the moment, breathing will absolutely help you. But if you haven't practiced breathing before, it's going to be really hard to recall it. However, you practice breathing all the time, slowing your breath down, taking those deep breaths, it's going to be more like muscle memory. And so I encourage you to practice that before it gets to this moment. And changing your physical environment, sometimes literally just going into a different room, stepping outside, driving somewhere, those can all be things that can help you just slow things down. Your body needs cues of safety before your mind can re-engage. And all of these things are ways to cue safety to your body and to your brain. Okay. All right. Let's talk about how repair is part of regulation and building capacity. I want to normalize the fact that repair is part of the learning experience. Okay, so if you snapped, you can repair it. If you shut down, you can come back. If you reacted in a way that you aren't proud of, you can acknowledge it and do something about it, learn from it, make it different the next time. Repair does not require a long explanation, and sometimes it can just be, simple conversation with yourself or with someone if you snapped at them and saying something like, I didn't show up how I wanted to. I didn't want to respond that way. I need a minute and I'll come back. That was totally me being overwhelmed, not my intention. And it's not justifying what happened, but it is giving context to the situation. So repair builds trust, but the avoidance of repairing breaks that trust. So, I tell couples all the time, if you're not fighting at all, having disagreements, arguments, whatever you want to call it, there's something wrong. Someone's not voicing their concerns. Things aren't being tested and pushed like real life is going to do. So when those issues do happen, you have an opportunity then to rebuild and make things better. But if you miss that opportunity by avoiding it or pushing things under the rug, that damages the relationship. Same thing here. If you mess up, if you snap, shut down, react in a way that you're not proud of, you need to do something about it. Respond to it in a way that allows you to feel like you're growing from this experience and learning and have the opportunity to improve for next time. Okay? I want to leave you with this. Your ability to recover matters more than your ability to stay regulated all the time. Capacity grows when you learn that breaking down is not dangerous. It is information for you to learn about yourself, what you can and can't handle, and how you can better prepare yourself for the next time. Every time you respond with compassion instead of criticism, you are building resilience. And that is really beautiful because life is going to throw things at us. But we have an opportunity to take whatever it is that life throws at us and do something with it for a better outcome for the next time. Okay, so this wraps up our first mini series of season 2. I hope your 2026 is off to a good start. Next, we're going to start expanding on these conversations into everyday life topics like boundaries, overstimulation, emotional labor, and how to care for your nervous system in real relationships. Before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you for spending this time with me today. If today's episode was helpful, I'd love for you to follow or subscribe to the show so you don't miss future episodes. And if you have a moment, leaving a rating or review helps this podcast reach more people who could benefit from these conversations. You can also share this episode with a friend, coworker, or loved one, especially someone who might need a reminder to slow down, reflect, or take better care of themselves. You can find me on Instagram or TikTok at Heart and Health Wellness, where I share more tools, reflections, and behind the scenes moments. Thanks again for being here. Take care of yourself. And until next time, be well.